After years of waiting, the gates of the underworld have opened once again. Hades 2 isn't just a sequel, it's a revolution.
Hades 2 is finally here, a sequel to a masterpiece. But this story isn't just about a great new game, it's about a new generation of power. For years, the original Switch was a hero, but it began to show its age. Games stuttered, worlds loaded slowly, the dream of console-quality gaming on the go was being held back. Well, that era is over.
This time, it's not just about the gods you face. It's about the power in your hands. Nintendo's Switch 2 has changed the game forever.
This is the Nintendo Switch 2, a godlike upgrade. And this one number says it all, 120. That's 120 frames per second for Hades 2. A generational leap in smoothness. But to understand this power, you have to see the ultimate test, the Titan of Time. Kronos floods the screen, bending reality itself. This is the fight that would have brought the old hardware to its knees. But on Switch 2, it's seamless. When you get hit, it's your fault, not the consoles. The game never falters.
Battles that once pushed consoles to their breaking point now run smoother, sharper, faster than ever before. But the revolution doesn't stop with new games. The Switch 2's power creates a ripple effect, breathing new life into your entire library. Super Mario Odyssey gets a free upgrade, 4 times the pixels, silky smooth animations. Bowser's Fury, once a struggle, now runs at a locked 60 FPS. Loading times are slashed. It's borderline a free remaster for your favorite games.
Okay, so Hades 2 is finally here. After years of waiting, the sequel to one of the most beloved games of all time has launched, and it is a massive deal. We're going to dive right into this, because this isn't just a story about a great new game. It's a story about a whole new generation of power. And you got to hand it to the developers, Supergiant Games. They are not holding back. They're on the record saying it's the biggest game they've ever made. We're talking more locations, more characters, more gods, and a whole new protagonist, Melinoe, the princess of the underworld, who's taking on the Titan of Time himself.
But here's the thing. For all the excitement around the game's story and its sheer scale, the most revolutionary part of this whole launch isn't just what you're playing, it's how you're playing it.
Let's be real for a second. The original Nintendo Switch was an absolute hero, a total game changer. But after 8 years, that hardware, well, it started to show its age. For a lot of ambitious games, that magic started to come with a serious performance cost.
And you can bet players noticed. I mean, take Minecraft, a game that's on everything. On the original Switch, one Reddit user called their world a slideshow. You're just trying to explore and you're stuck waiting for the world to slowly load in around you. Not exactly immersive, right?
And it wasn't just Minecraft. Even amazing indie games like Cult of the Lamb could turn into what another user called a stutterfest the second the action got a little heavy. The hardware just couldn't keep up.
And for Nintendo's own big first-party exclusives, oh yeah, the struggle was real there too. A player called the super fast action in Bayonetta 3 almost unplayable when the frame rate would dip below 30. That whole dream of console gaming on the go was being held back.
Well, that era's over. The arrival of the Nintendo Switch 2 isn't just some small update. It's a godlike upgrade. It's the solution that changes the entire experience.
And really, this one number says it all, 120. That's 120 frames per second for Hades 2 when you've got the Switch 2 docked. That's not just an improvement, that's a full-blown generational leap in how smooth and responsive a game can feel.
And when you break down the raw numbers, you really see the difference. Now, the original Switch ran Hades 2 at a respectable 60 frames at 720p. Totally fine. But look at the Switch 2. Docked, it doubles the frame rate to 120 and boosts the resolution to 1080p. And get this, even in handheld mode, you're getting a locked 60 FPS at a crisp 1080p. It's sharper, it's smoother, it's just fundamentally better in every single way.
So numbers are cool, but to really understand what this power feels like, we've got to look at the ultimate test, the final boss of Hades 2. Yeah, we're talking about defeating the Titan of Time.
So Kronos, the father of Zeus, is the game's big bad. His whole deal is he literally messes with time. He traps you in these bubbles that freeze you in place. He unleashes these attacks that fill the entire screen. He's bending reality. And honestly, it's the perfect metaphor for fight against technical limits, right? Low frame rates, long loading times, it's all there.
The fight itself is just pure chaos. In Phase 1, he's flooding the screen with attacks and summoning minions. Then he summons more minions, but this time they're protected. And in his second phase, he can just unleash this instant kill attack where you have seconds to find a tiny safe zone. This is exactly the kind of battle that would have brought the original Switch to its knees.
So here's the crucial point. On the original Switch, this fight would have been a mess of slowdown and stuttering. You'd be fighting the hardware just as much as the boss. But on Switch 2, with that locked high frame rate, the experience is totally transformed. It's smooth, it's responsive, and most importantly, it's fair. When you get hit, it's because you messed up, not because the console couldn't keep up.
And trust me, you need every bit of that performance. As this IGN playthrough captures so perfectly, just when you think you finally won, boom, Kronos reveals a whole second health bar. The intensity never lets up, and the Switch 2's power means the game never falters, even when it's being pushed to the absolute limit.
But this is where it gets really interesting. This massive upgrade isn't just for brand new games like Hades 2. The power of the Switch 2 creates this amazing ripple effect, breathing new life into the entire library of games you might already own.
Let's just look at Super Mario Odyssey. On the first Switch, it ran at a dynamic 900p, and famously, those characters way off in the distance animated at a choppy half rate to save power. On Switch 2, it gets a free patch that pushes the resolution up to a dynamic 1800p, that is 4 times the pixels, and every single animation runs at a silky smooth 60 frames per second.
Or how about Bowser's Fury, a game that pushed the original Switch to its absolute limit. In handheld, you were stuck at 30 frames. Docked, it struggled to even hold 60. On Switch 2, it's a locked 60 FPS in both modes, with a crisp 1080p resolution in handheld and an even higher resolution when docked. It's a complete night and day difference. And it's not just about what you see, it's about what you don't see, like loading screens. Loading times are just drastically cut down. For Bowser's Fury, it's more than twice as fast. That's just less waiting and more playing, which is a huge quality of life win across the board.
The experts over at Digital Foundry summed it up perfectly. Getting these huge upgrades for free is, and I quote, borderline like a free remaster. It just adds so much value and makes going back to your old favorites feel like a totally new experience.
So what does all of this mean for the big picture? This isn't just about a better Switch. The power we're seeing here signals a whole new era for handheld gaming itself.
So let's just put it all together. This generational leap means we're talking about frame rates up to 120 FPS, resolutions that can hit 4K when you're docked, dramatically faster loading, and a powerful, enhanced form of backwards compatibility that actually improves the games you already own. It's the whole shebang. And what this all adds up to is a fundamental shift. For years, handheld gaming has always meant compromise. You got portability, but you had to sacrifice power, performance, and visuals. The Switch 2 basically erases that compromise. That line between a portable experience and a home console one is blurring like never before. Which leaves us with one final, fascinating question. For the first time ever, a portable device can deliver a completely uncompromised, high-performance experience that truly rivals what we expect from a machine plugged into our TV. So if this is the new standard, what comes next?
So what does this all mean? This generational leap, 120 FPS, 4K resolution, instant loading, signals a whole new era. For years, handheld gaming meant compromise. You sacrificed power for portability. The Switch 2 erases that compromise. The line is blurred like never before. For the first time, a portable device can deliver a truly uncompromised, high-performance experience. So the final, fascinating question is this.
So here's the question. If handheld gaming is now limitless, what comes next?